Group 5, Colin.
This is Colin, and tonight he would like to share with you the importance of keeping art in school.
Thank you, Mary. Before I begin, I'd like to walk you through a scenario. You're a student about to take your last and most important final. You follow your normal routine. You sit in your usual seat, you have a light breakfast, and you watch as each student enters the classroom. You notice the more diligent students making their way towards the front, and the more drawn-out students towards the back. You also notice some of their nervous tendencies, from nibbling on erasers to frantically reviewing last-minute notes. But today seems a little bit off, and you scan the room, and you realize that there's a student randomly sitting next to you today. And you notice some of their nervous tendencies as well, but you see them drawing in a sketchbook as if the final is a secondary thought. And you find this kind of odd because who's going to think, oh, I have my most important test today, I feel like drawing. But for students like me, the artist, this is our reality. We take to our creative sides to help reduce our stress and anxiety. A true indulgence of art therapy, which has actually gotten a lot of recognition from the psychology community. And according to Joan Phillips, a PhD in interdisciplinary studies and art therapy, states that just the process of art making can reduce and the stresses that come from one's mind and actually can reduce your physical response. So, if art has the ability to reduce or revert the stresses of everyday life, why hasn't it been implemented into an education system that creates a lot of these early life stresses? It starts with the definition of education, or the systematic process of giving and receiving information. The term systematic creates a dichotomy of right and wrong with no room for interpretation. And if we're wrong, God forbid, we're actually left to fade into the margins without realizing our true potential. And because the reason why this happens is because we live in a world that has ridiculed mistakes. But in all honesty, we need to find an appreciation for those mistakes. Which actually brings me to a TED Talk that left me inspired by Sir Ken Robinson, where he states, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. And if all else fails, our education system should strive to bring out a sense of originality in all of us without fear of mistake. And, okay, now, just a show of hands, how many of you guys actually like to doodle when you're sitting in class, when you're taking notes, or if you're drawing, or anything like that? Figures. I'm actually going to ask for all of you guys' participation for this. I actually need you guys to go ahead and close your eyes, and I would like you to imagine that you're looking at your notebook. You turn to the first page, and you see your first set of notes. You see your main headings, you see your subheadings, you have your Roman numerals, and you have your examples. But over to the side, you notice your first doodle. And let's say it's a stick figure. Now, with each turn of the page, you see different variations of this same figure. For instance, in your math class, your figure is frowning because we all know how much we feel about math. But in your public speaking class, you see that your figure is ecstatic because we just all love public speaking. So, as the notes of the semester progressively get better, so does your stick figure. Now, what was once just a few lines and a circle has become an intricate design with a background, a foreground, and a storyline behind each line. But none of this could have been possible without having to brush off a few eraser shavings off your paper. You can go ahead and open your eyes now. And that is what art is. It's a love of our mistakes. They create us and give us our sense of originality. So, with that being said, if art has the ability to help us understand our mistakes and can bring light to our stresses, shouldn't that light be extended to our educations? Unfortunately, since there's been a lack of proficiency in what politicians believe is our core classes, the maths and the sciences, the legislation has actually shifted to make up for that loss, while decreasing the amount of art education requirements there are in schools. Even though a short-term study had proven that the effects of art education on low-income students actually increased their attention span and their focus, which directly correlated to their better grades in school. But they didn't stop there though. They actually followed those same students into their college lives. And those same students actually did significantly better in the duration of college and actually had a higher graduation rate. But this is a blessing in disguise, because as young scholars and artists, we are given the opportunity to step outside of the box and recreate a new system that actually celebrates our hidden talents. And with states like Illinois, who is actually using a Chicago Arts and Partnership in Education program, it's a step in the right direction, but it takes students like you and I who want to actually create that change. Now, I'm not one for donating my money to an organization where I'm not actually going to see my money actually do anything. So instead, I challenge you to go to your local art school, local art supply, or even your local Michaels, and actually go and buy some art supplies. And whether it be for you or somebody you know who needs it, you can actually recreate a bond through art. Now, if you're as adamant as I am, you can actually donate those supplies to one of your local schools, whether it's an elementary school, a middle school, or a high school. You can find those schools need those resources that you're willing to provide. Now, who do you want to be? That student frantically reviewing those last-minute notes, or that student blissfully drawing in their sketchbook before their final? Thank you.